Did you know that rabbits have a harder time with heat than even with cold? Heat is kind of rough on the rabbits. Hello and welcome. We are three families who come together to help each other grow in our faith, family, homesteading, and whatever else life throws our way. Join us on this journey as we sow and grow together. During this past year, we have started trying to establish a really great breeding stock of American chinchilla rabbits. Now, these are a great multi-purpose rabbit if you're looking for something sustainable, even on a really small amount of land, for a meat source, and people even use them for their pelts as well. They have very soft fur. We traveled about 4 hours to get our very first breeding trio of these rabbits, and lost the one before she was even able to have her first kindling. So we're trying to be really careful. We have been able to get two more, another male and female unrelated, to add to our breeding program, and we're really trying to kickstart it this year. And yes, I know these are cute. We are not actually eating these rabbits. We will be saving these guys to breed and get our program up and running. Our biggest challenge right now to keep these rabbits alive and healthy is dealing with the extreme heat. It is in the upper 90s right now. It feels like temperature is even higher, and we just really do not want to lose any rabbits to heat this summer. Now, your options for keeping your rabbits cool are very much dependent on your situation, how many rabbits you have, and what you have available to you, but we're going to show you a few things we are doing to help minimize risk. Step one is to choose a good location. You want something in shade, out of direct sunlight, and with great airflow. We chose to put ours between the chicken coop and the wooded area behind it, so our rabbits only get indirect sunlight during the entire time they're in their cages. There's hardware cloth around almost every side of their cage, and that allows for great airflow. The wind blows through there really well. And during the winter, we can board up some sides or put up some extra wind protection to help with the cold. But the majority of the year, we want as much airflow as possible. One of the most important tips for keeping your rabbits cool is to make sure they always have access to clean water. And tip for you, make sure it's easy for you to access so you can refill it easily. There are all kinds of ideas for helping get your rabbits water. These are the cheap ones you usually see. We like these Rent-A-Coop ones. We'll leave an Amazon link below so that you can check that out. They're very sturdy and very easy to refill. After those basic needs are met, you're just going to want to check frequently on your rabbits on these warm days. Watch for signs of overheating. If they are sprawled out as wide as they can, their ears are spread and they're panting, they're doing what they need to do. But if they start panting too heavily or looking overly exhausted, you may want to have a plan for how you can address getting them cooler to avoid losing a rabbit to heat. One question to ask: what do wild rabbits do? How do they deal with the heat? And how can we replicate that a little bit in our enclosures for our rabbits? First of all, they find that cool, shady, high airflow space. Also, they go underground. They go into cool burrows and things like that. So you may or may not be able to do those exact things, but that is kind of what we're trying to replicate. Another thing you can do that wild rabbits do is gather some greens fresh and still retaining all that moisture and give them to your rabbits. I'm gathering some plantain, some clover, things like that. They love that. There's even some things from the garden that they can eat. Anything fresh with all that moisture is going to help hydrate them better and even help keep them cool. Sometimes the regular airflow isn't cutting it. You can always add a fan. There are solar-powered fans available, but sometimes you just have to use what you've got. And we had an extension cord and a box fan in the basement, so this is what we did. And we just put it in a location where it would blow through all of the cages for all of the rabbits, and that gave significantly more airflow to all of the rabbits. Fun fact, rabbits don't sweat like a lot of other animals, so we can actually put a little bit of water on their ears. Their ears are where they lose most of the heat. So when they spread those ears out like that, they are trying to lose heat. They let the blood flow as close to the surface as possible. If you wet their ears a little bit, then that can help that process, help it cool down faster. And actually, rabbits with those bigger, wider ears manage the heat better. We've also tried draping a damp cool cloth over the rabbits. They're not a super big fan of that, but sometimes if they're just laying out and trying to get cool, that could be another option as well. If they're still having trouble, you can also freeze water bottles and place them in the cage. The rabbits can go up against them if they get too warm. You will, of course, have to trade them out, so you're going to want to have some available in the freezer that you can swap out when they melt. Also, you're going to want to make sure it's a very sturdy bottle because, they do like to chew, so we like some of these harder plastic bottles. And make sure that you remove any packaging so that they can't, eat the plastic or paper off of it. A very last resort, if you're not able to check them throughout the day, or if it's just not cutting it and you're worried you're going to lose a rabbit, you can always move them. Find a secure location that is safe. Make sure there's no drastic temperature changes. You would not want to bring your rabbits from the outside extreme heat into the cool air conditioning and then try to move them back. That would just not be a good idea. They would be in shock and you would be more likely to lose one. Thankfully, I guess, our kitchen is not very cool. It's one of the warmer rooms in our house, but at least it was cooler than it was outside. One of the hottest days of the year, and we were not going to be home to check on the rabbits. So I put the mom and babies here in this tote, covered it with part of a different cage. There's hay in there. They have access to water. I put some of their feed and some fresh greens, and they were very content in there. However, we still had 3 large rabbits to try to house inside in a short amount of time. So thankfully my husband is handy. He whipped up something real quick that could house 3 rabbits. We used this bottom of the dog crate, and he made 3 separate divisions inside the box that would set on top of that. This is obviously not a permanent fix, but for a day where we couldn't check on them during the heat of the day, this would at least keep them safe inside the house. Now comes the fun part, trying to collect these rabbits that are not really used to being handled a whole lot and trying not to stress them out while we transfer them, and it was a little bit tricky. This first one was probably one of the least friendly when we first got her even. She was already full grown, and so we're just really careful to try not to stress her out. But from here on out, the other 2 rabbits are a little smaller, and we decided to just lay a bucket down and encourage them to scooch into it, and this was a lot less traumatic. And here they are. Thankfully, these rabbits are big enough. They don't seem to want to scooch underneath the little space in the bottom. And other than the smallest male, they haven't been eager to hop over the top either. We did have to lay something on top, but here they are for their temporary homes. They have food, they have water, they have hay as bedding that they could also eat if they wanted, but it at least will house them during the hottest part of the day and keep them a little cooler. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you have any other tricks or tips for keeping rabbits cool during the heat of summer, please drop them in the comments below. We're always looking for other great ideas. If you liked this, go ahead and hit like and subscribe and join us again as we sew and grow together.